Hello everyone, welcome to the weekly chart review for NASDAQ and stocks. I just want to take a second to thank you all. I mean, getting 157 views for a tiny little channel like mine, just for NASDAQ prediction, I thought was fantastic. Stay for the whole video though, that would be even more helpful. Alright guys, granted I'm still making these videos for free, right? And I'm not going to be dropping a dime into ads or anything like this until the YouTube channel itself is ready for monetization, right? It might take a little while and that's fine, but as soon as I hit those thresholds, then I'm going to be dumping in all profits into ads to get more people in here so they can learn how to manage their trades. And some charitable work if the opportunity arises. But anyway, let's jump into what I have kind of predicted in the past already, and it's really interesting how things have developed for NASDAQ. I'll just stretch this out. I'm lagging a little bit, bear with me. Okay, so remember how I said before, when it hit this box, I'm not going to be buying any more shares of companies. I'm just going to see how things end up rolling. It's been a very interesting few weeks. I had a feeling this was going to be its peak, and I mean it was, right? All up until Wednesday of last week. So up until then, it looked like a very good chance that this is going to keep dropping. However, it climbed and imbalance formed. Imbalance was shut down on Friday and went right back up. So, I mean, I'll drop it to the 4-hour right now so it's a better visibility. All right, so as you can see, this was what happened on the 14th. Lots of craziness continued on. It finally hit its new low there, well, a higher low, okay? Bounced up and it made a new peak. I was surprised at that. Remember what I said, folks? When it makes a new peak, I'm going to continue being bullish for this pair because until it crossed this threshold, I was bearish. I was not expecting it to actually come back to this area. I mean, I kind of was hoping it was going to get back up there just for my original prediction to be on point. But it seemed that it actually made its run up on Thursday, right? It hit that peak and then it dropped down hard on Friday, right as information came out early morning, and then we had a recovery for the remainder of the day. So realistically, from open to close, it was just a 60-point drop. Like, that's not bad at all. Okay. Judging from, you can see right here where I just drew a Fibonacci for the week itself, right? From the lows to the high. Look at this, the wick just off that 618. Like, I'm going to tighten up this fib because you can see it's just a little bit off its points. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference, but incredibly close. It was off that golden zone and right up it goes. So now where we're sitting at is minimum 477 points away from the target zone. Now, if I want to be extremely accurate, I want to say, let's throw out 540 to get to that point. All right, this is how the week actually looked like. So all those drops, look, 3 gaps closed on Wednesday. 3 gaps for the week closed Wednesday. And I want to say that it's within a week because this one, it was 1 trading day, 2, 3, 4, and on the 5th, it ended up closing. So technically, that's still the orange marker because the blue one is signifying after 5 days that it eventually closes. And yeah, so we had 3, technically 4. I mean, this little guy that formed and closed the previous day, we had 4 gaps that closed on Wednesday, November 30th. That's pretty wild. If I take this up to, I'll throw it on the daily just to see the long-term chart and show you guys where all my long targets are at. So what did I say before? About 540 points, right? In order to close that peak, what I'm expecting. Let's see how much I'm off to this gap right here. 500 and let's say 580, right? So between 540 and 580, that's kind of what I'm predicting we need to get to. I have a feeling one of these gaps is going to close. Again, if it does climb higher and higher, then I'll definitely aim for this gap, and then that'll be my target. If it hits there and starts going up, that's just a bonus, but as soon as I get one day that's a loss, that's going to make me nervous, and I'm going to get the heck out of there. I'm still in a few trades. I'll be honest, I jumped in where there were a bit of a low. Right, so I jumped in around, where was it? Where it started pulling back. Where were we? Around here. Okay, I jumped in around this area because we started to climb and we had an EMA shift. And woe is me, guys, I picked two stocks. One of them I'm biased with, and the other one was kind of a risky proposition. So the first one was Progeny. And I'm a big fan of Progeny. I've expressed why in the past. They have good earnings quarter over quarter, year over year. The only bummer is their Friday was quite the drag. It dropped over 5%. All right. So I believe my average for this stock is around 30, low 38, 38.20, something like that, 37. Wish it was at 37, but no, it's low 38s, right? So not the worst thing to be at, but excuse me. The trouble is it wasn't moving like the rest of NASDAQ, so as you can see, it kind of filled the gap and started going lower. I grabbed it around, where was it? Where was that low? I grabbed it around here, a little later than I planned on, right? After this green day right here, I grabbed it the first time with a half a position, and then I averaged down after this close. So that's where I'm sitting around 38 and change. Let me see if it's actually 38. I have a feeling I'm a little bit off on that one. Just gonna double check. So Progeny, yeah, 38.20. That's my average. So not the worst thing to be in, but yeah, I mean, I was not expecting those hard drops for absolutely no reason. Like again, good earnings, good surprise estimate. Like that was fantastic, right? Revenue reported and earnings went up. But yeah, it's just been kind of stagnating. So a bit of a bummer there, but I believe that it closed off a gap that formed with its previous earnings, right? So you can see right here, it came extremely close to dropping in on its lows, and it's starting to recover a little bit, which is fine, right? So I believe that that was its new low, and I don't think it's going to drop below that. Drawing the fib, you can see it went into the 618, almost this, well, pardon me, to the 786 and rejected. So kind of recovered a little bit on that day. And the last one is Rumble. Rumble. I'm just having fun with Rumble. That's all it is, right? Like, yes, I did put a chunk of change in there, but I have good feelings about Rumble. You know, I'm going to be putting content on there as well. They're, I would say, much more for the free speech than everybody else is at this point in time. And I'm a big fan of all that sort of stuff. I wouldn't be biased when it comes to any political theater that you see at this point, but there comes a point where, you know, you want to help the little guy, and right now Rumble is the little guy. They're competing with gigantic YouTube right now, but I think they're doing very well. You know, they're very good surprise revenue, even though it's incredibly low. And they're starting to monetize their creators. So remember how YouTube was in the early stages and there's very few content creators now. It's kind of a dime a dozen. So Rumble is in that sort of stage right now where it went public not too long ago. I mean, not too long ago. I mean, it was still end of last year. But so they've been going on for about a year. You see that it's been quite volatile. It dropped to its lows on October 20th and then kind of keeps spiking all over the place. And to be honest, watching this stock on a daily basis, it's very heavily manipulated. So I would be cautious with this one. it's like my AMC for me. You know, I'm considering it my meme stock, even though I do believe in it long term. So yeah, that's kind of what I see. So let's jump back to NASDAQ. Where were we for a second? Here we go. So back to NASDAQ. All right. Like I said before, I originally predicted that it would hit this zone. It's seeming to be much more likely that that's going to happen. And the reason why I say that is look what happened here on this Fibonacci channel line, this aqua. Okay. Now I'll just delete this. I mean, you guys have seen this drawing for a long time. That consolidation box exactly as predicted as well, just lasted like a couple of days longer. But now look what happened here. Where's the highlighter actually? Okay. So look at this area right there. It dropped through and it closed below this line. The next day, green. The following day, green. Right? And then it never went below that line again. It touched it several times before finally climbing higher. I don't believe we're going to get that much of a climb this time around. Like I said, there was a reason why, right? But same sort of idea. Look, over this line, you could see that it was bouncing in between. Like it kind of held up on this line a little bit. It closed below, then went above, then closed below, then went above, right? So this situation happened 3 times compared to this one situation here. But it was between these two, the support and resistance, for about a month and a half. It finally broke through it, and it's testing it. You can see it closed below and then went right up. It closed below, like they closed right on it, and then the next day it closed below and then went right up. So I believe that this is the exact same situation where we were at here, where it was kind of bouncing around until it finally broke through and went up. I have a feeling that we might see a bit of a drop again to test this line, but we might be seeing this move kind of finish off by the end of September. Again, the rallies upwards are much slower than the drops. You can see the drops are pretty painful, right? Like they happen hard and fast compared to how long these rallies take to actually finish off. And yeah, now because of that, I got to move my target over this way. Let's see, December 15th, unlikely. Let's say 19th, sure. I don't think it's going to be on that specific day. I'm just going with my targets. I was right about the 15th of November to watch that date. It was a bit of a rejection, but not as deep as I expected. I thought it was going to keep going down, right? Anyway, guys, that's what I see right now. I hope that this review has been helpful for you in deciding specifically where to take your calls or puts in the short term, or maybe even the long term. If you decide to hold stocks, be very careful, right? It's in kind of no man's land right now. It's in the spot where, you know, I already planned on not picking anything up, you know, but shortly after I got itchy and I grabbed Progeny and Rumble, right? So, I mean, one way or another, I know long term they're going to be good. In the short term, I might, you know, take a little hit on that. That's fine. So yeah, I mean, itchy trigger finger, like I said, it's best to wait it out. But hopefully you guys don't have that kind of problem, right? Hopefully it's just me. Remember the mindset video training I did, okay? But again, the only reason I grabbed them is because I believe in the two companies. Okay, even Warren Buffett says, hey, you got to be comfortable with it dropping 50% or more if you did your due diligence and you like what those companies have to offer. All right. Thanks for joining, everybody. I hope that you're getting your money's worth. I mean, it is free after all, so lower your expectations. All right. Thanks a lot for joining, guys, and I'll see you next week.